Passionate, driven, enthusiastic, euphoric. This is who we are as entrepreneurs. But how we leverage these incredible attributes to dream and build businesses that scale and grow is what this podcast is all about. Hello, I'm attorneypreneur Josh Brown, and welcome to Franchise Euphoria. Today, I'm thrilled to have on Nathan Hirsch. Nathan is a serial entrepreneur, expert in remote hiring, and e-commerce guru. Selling online since 2010, Nate has sold well over $25 million worth of product through his e-commerce business. He's now the co-founder and CEO of FreeeUp.com. And for those of you writing that down, it's FREEE up.com. So 3 E's in there for FreeeUp.com. The hands-on hiring marketplace connecting hundreds of online business owners with reliable, pre-vetted remote workers. FreeeUp is redefining how businesses are able to hire remote freelancers online. He's got a really cool story to tell behind this and the number of team members that he has. So we'll dive into that in the interview. But you can also find Nathan as well on other leading podcasts such as Entrepreneur on Fire with our buddy John Lee Dumas, and Eventual Millionaire with Jamie Tardy, now Jamie Masters, who's wonderful, and many, many more. Speaking about online hiring tactics. Welcome to the show, Nathan. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, well, your bio's fascinating, and obviously you have an expertise in hiring remote workers, which is certainly a very timely topic in this marketplace that we're in for all businesses, because whether you're a traditional retail shop or whether you're an online business, the idea of hiring people remotely is ever present. And so I'm just curious, before we dive in to how you built up your business, how'd you get involved in this space?
Sure. So when I started my first business, I was a college student looking for extra beer money, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I ended up growing a multi-million-dollar Amazon dropshipping business out of my college dorm room. And what I quickly realized is, with all the stuff going around me, whether it was studying for tests and having a girlfriend and all the stuff that you want to do in college besides work, I quickly ran out of hours in the day, and I was forced to hire even though I'm not sure I was ready for it. So I was fortunate enough that I made a lot of really good hiring decisions, people that still work with me to this day. And I also made some bad ones as well, and I really learned from it. And I quickly realized that no matter what business you're in, even if you don't own your own business and you want to go into management and get high up in a company, you have to learn how to hire and manage and motivate people, whether they're in-house employees or remote workers or part-time contractors, whatever it is. You have to do it at a high level, and they don't necessarily teach you that in school. So I became really passionate about hiring because I saw that all my really good hires would make me look really good and grow my business and make me money, and all my really bad hires would take up a lot of my time and waste company resources, and it was kind of a mess. So I really wanted to perfect the hiring process, and I was able to break it down and make it simpler and come up with a good way that I can really relate to other business owners no matter what their business is. And that's really what I've been focused on for the past few years as I've grown this marketplace of contractors and really help clients even beyond that. I mean, yes, we offer remote contractors from all around the world, but once we give them the worker, we want to really teach them and have them improve how they recruit and onboard and train and really integrate and motivate and get the most out of them. But it's the same stuff that they can apply to their employees and to their in-house staff as well. So we really want to educate people on the power of hiring.
So, there's these other companies out there, Odesk and Elance, and I mean a bunch of others that focus on helping people find remote workers as well. So how do you guys differentiate yourself in that space?
Yeah, so on the front end, we do a lot more vetting to get people in our network. I know Upwork, they do kick people off their marketplace, but for the most part, anyone can create a profile and apply for jobs. Whereas for us, if you want to get on our marketplace, it's a more stringent process. And then on the back end, we have much better customer service. So our workers rarely quit. If they ever do, we cover all retraining costs, replacement costs, and get the clients a new worker right away. If they ever if there's ever an issue, you have someone to go to. So we have 24/7 customer service in that regard, and we'll actually talk with you and your contractor and help resolve any issues. On the back end of that, we're a lot more focused on e-commerce. I mean, that's my background. We have plenty of non-e-commerce clients, but a lot of our marketplace has a core of e-commerce. And on top of that, instead of just providing the worker and walk away, like I mentioned before, we want to help our clients and even non-clients just become better at hiring. So we have our blog, our online hiring mastermind group. We put out a lot of content to really help people and educate people and help them grow their business by hiring effectively.
Well, so you say when you mention e-commerce, I know that means a lot of things to a lot of different people, and it can be a pretty broad category. Tell me specifically your focus in e-commerce. I mean, is this specifically for businesses that are trying to, drive revenue through e-commerce platforms, or does it go broader than that?
I mean, that was our core, right? So I started off as an Amazon seller. It was easy for me to pitch, hey, I'm an Amazon expert. I have all these Amazon workers. Come use my workers. So we started off with that, and then those clients fell in love with the process, and they were like, hey, we need bookkeepers. We need graphic designers. We need digital marketers. So we really expanded from there to now, yes, we do e-commerce, which I kind of define as selling products online. To doing a lot more than that, whether you're in a service business or maybe you're just a doctor and you want someone to build your website, or you have a call center and you need a bunch of Filipino workers to handle phone calls. So, I mean, it really expands beyond that, but my core is always going to be e-commerce just because that's where I started.
So you obviously came up with this idea. It sounds like from experiencing it yourself. You built a team, you built a number of remote workers, and then you realized you really didn't have a process or a system to make it easier to hire these folks and to train these folks. I mean, is that what really led to the idea of FreeeUp.com?
Yeah, I mean, I've used all those other marketplaces. I know the good and the bad, and I think the coolest part of FreeeUp is when we figured out how do we look for workers that we want to on our marketplace, and how do we put steps in place to protect not only the clients but the workers too, and just create an overall experience. I was really able to base it on my hiring experiences, the good and the bad, to really come up with a system that works for everyone. And I mean, on the worker side of it, although they are contractors and we let them do their own thing, we give them a lot of advice too on how they can grow as a freelancer, because there are a lot of really talented people out there that might not be good at interviewing, or they might not know exactly what a client wants or how a client wants to be treated. So what I do, because I've been a client for 9+ years, so we educate them and help them and answer their questions, and we're there for support if stuff comes up, which really at the end of the day leads to a better client experience.
So tell me this. I mean, to you, this is going to be like, second nature, probably something that you would naturally skip over because you're so focused on it. But to a lot of business owners out there, or people who are growing their businesses or looking to buy businesses, how do you know if you need a remote worker or not? I mean, how do you make the determination as to, well, I think somebody remote could do this versus I need to hire somebody who's going to show up every day in my business?
Yeah, I mean, the basic part of it is, do they actually have to be there? And there's a difference between needing them there and wanting them there. I mean, in the perfect world, I would have a huge office that I would rent out for free, and I would have all these people coming in, and we would have team meetings, and it would be great. But a lot of times that's not realistic. And I actually opened up an office, and it became one of the worst business decisions I ever made, because I just took this business that required no overhead and added a lot of overhead to it for no reason, when all the work could have been done remote. So, I mean, there are things that it is nice to have someone in person. Maybe you do need a full-time employee for something, or you need someone in your warehouse, or whatever it is. But there's other times where if someone's going to build you a website, do they really have to be there? And then it kind of comes down to, can you learn how to communicate with someone that's not right next to you? And that's really on you as a client more than your needs for hiring. So for me, I'm always trying to look at, hey, do I need someone in-house, which for me is almost never anymore, to what can it be done remotely? And the cool thing about it getting done remotely is you get access to a lot more talent. If you limit yourself to, hey, I'm only going to hire someone that can come to my office, you're pretty much limiting yourself to a radius around your building, and then you have all the other businesses that are around you competing for the same talent. Whereas if you open yourself up to remote workers from around the world, you get access to all this different talent that you normally wouldn't get. And a lot of times it drives down the price, and it also gets you just lots of skill sets and people that can bring their own culture and experience to the table that can really help you.
So what kind of more traditional businesses are you seeing going more towards remote workers? I mean, service-based businesses and so forth that aren't necessarily just online. Maybe they're retail businesses that are looking to remote workers for certain things. I mean, are you seeing a trend towards that?
Yeah, and let's not forget, just because you have a brick and mortar store doesn't mean that you can't have in-person employees and some remote contractors on the side. I mean, I work with plenty of clients that they might own a store that sells food, and then they also have someone that builds their website and then handles the customer service for that website. And I mean, the same thing I've seen with doctors, lawyers, dentists, they need digital marketers to drive traffic to their website. They need someone to build their website. They want someone to help them create an email list, or maybe they have a blog that they're working on the side that helps gain traction for their business. So there's so many things that can be done to help your business just on the side, even if you have a brick and mortar store, and almost all those things can get done with remote workers.
Well, and so tell me this specifically. So when you're, if somebody, because I imagine many people listening are probably going to be or have thought about the need for somebody to come in and help them manage their social media or digital marketing, or they want to take advantage of that. Walk us through the process that you would take somebody through who's looking to utilize FreeeUp.com.
Sure. So there's really two ways to go about hiring. You either have processes that you have done over and over and you want to get them off your plate and hire someone to do them, or you want to hire, or you have no idea what you're doing. You just know that you have to do something, in which case you want to hire an expert to come in and point you in the right direction. So if you want to market, but you don't know where to market, instead of just throwing marketing dollars at something, or instead of hiring a lower level worker, which really requires your direction, which you might not be able to provide, you really want to hire an expert. And if you do it through FreeeUp, our consultants, they work the same way. So the first 1 to 2 hours build time, they're going to meet with you, go over your business top to bottom, come up with a game plan. Everyone has their own ways of doing things, but then come up with that game plan and get your approval on it. That includes hourly estimates. And if you approve it, they'll get started on execution going forward. So we kind of set it up nicely so the consultants, the contractors can do their thing, but also have a process that protects the client, make sure the client knows what they're getting into, and where each consultant can come up with a process for that client.
And then do you charge some sort of fee to go through all that, or how does your pricing structure work in terms of people paying you for the service?
Yeah, so there's no fee to sign up. There's no monthly fee. There's really no services besides the worker and their hourly rate. So the worker decides their hourly rate on the marketplace. If you decide to hire them, you pay for any time you use them. So if you hire them for an audit, if you hire them for 1 hour consulting, obviously if you hire them for work or to train you or to train someone else, then that's billed time. So it's really just the billed hour. If we tell you someone is $40 an hour, you pay $40 an hour, nothing else. Our fee is factored into that.
Oh, okay. So they set the fee.
Correct. We take a percentage of every hour worked, but you're just paying that 1 hourly rate, nothing else.
Fascinating. So what, it's such an interesting topic and discussion for small business owners, because I think it probably is perhaps the most frustrating thing that any business goes through, and that is not just hiring workers, but maintaining good workers. And I know, as we talked about, all sorts of businesses are just looking for different ways to do that. It seems to me, at least in my experience, you tell me where I'm wrong on this. I mean, I've used remote workers or virtual workers before, and it seems like I've gotten the best bang for my buck when I've had like specific tasks that I want done. So, in other words, the remote worker is only going to be as good as your direction or your task that you have. I found it to not be very worthwhile when it was just where I wasn't as clear on my end in terms of what the expectation was or what I expect to be done. I mean, is that sort of your experience with the remote workers?
Yeah, and that's really what I kind of just mentioned, where if you go the lower level route, you really have to have a system and process and give them those expectations, those goals, a process to follow. Whereas if you hire a top level worker, then you can be hands off and they can really set the tone and you can approve everything as you go, but they're really leading the way. So what a lot of people fall into is they're like, we don't have a big budget. I don't know anything about marketing. Let's hire a lower level marketing person, and they don't give them any direction, and then they don't have a good experience. And that's because you're kind of going about it wrong. You should be hiring those top-notch people if you don't know what you're doing, and the lower level people if you're taking something off your plate and teaching them how to do it.
Okay, that's great info. And by the way, everybody listening, you probably don't know this, but when I was talking to Nathan offline, you hear all that energy and enthusiasm in his voice. He's sitting here laying in bed because he just had knee surgery and shoulder surgery. So he's great. I can't imagine your energy level if you were actually up and about. But we wish you a healthy and safe recovery. But I just wanted to shout that out because I really appreciate that you're out there hustling, doing these podcast interviews when you're basically just coming off 2 surgeries, which is pretty incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's funny. I'm speaking at a conference next week, and I'm the youngest person speaking, but I'm going to be the one like hobbling around on crutches. So.
Oh, I thought maybe they might just roll you out in your bed or something.
Yeah, I wish.
Well, listen, what can you leave? I know we just have a couple minutes left. I think obviously, I'd encourage folks to go to freeup.com, and you may have some other mentions for them as well before we end. But what's one thing that you find that's a hurdle for folks to get over in their own mind before they can take the next step to hire a remote worker? Because I know I talk to a lot of people who talk about doing it, but they never get around to doing it.
Yeah. So step 1 is identifying what you want. What does your perfect worker look like? What does a task complete actually look like? A lot of the times when people, they're either hesitant or they have a bad experience is because, like you said, the expectations aren't laid out up front. So we try to make it as easy as possible for people to hire. We have what we call the client expectations doc, totally optional. You can use it if you want to, and you can fill it out, answer the questions that are there, and it helps you just hand it right to the worker when they start, and it'll lay it out, and then they can ask you if there's any questions, and it saves you a lot of time and miscommunication and gray area. So that's one of the biggest things. The other mistake that people make is just not diversifying. They'll hire one person, they'll decide that person's awesome, and then they'll teach them to do everything. And then a year later, that person leaves and their entire business goes down the drain because how do you ever replace one person that's a master of everything? So it's a lot better for you, like you said, to divide it up with tasks or departments or however you want to divide up your business so it's very diversified. And if one person does walk out the door, it's not the end of the world.
No, that's great. And I think, I'd encourage people to give it a shot. Go on to freeup.com. Check it out. See what it has to offer. You have nothing to lose by doing that. You can also get a hold of or communicate with Nathan through his Twitter feed, which is at FreeeUp, and that's with 3 E's, FREEE up, and through Facebook at freeup.com. Anything else you want to leave the audience with? Thank you for taking a few minutes here to really kind of break down the remote work process. Again, it's something I hear about a lot, and I think the audience will find very informative.
Yeah, thank you. So right on freeup.com with 3 E's, my calendar is right at the top. You can book a free meeting with me. I'd love to talk to you about your business and your hiring needs. In addition to that, you can check out the online hiring mastermind group. It's free to join. We post a lot of great stuff there, the FreeeUp blog, and it's free to sign up for a client, to be a client right on our site. And if you mention this podcast, you get $1 off your first worker forever. So you can sign up, keep us in your back pocket, and we'd love to help you whenever your business needs it.
Well, I guess when your name is FreeeUp, I mean, it has multiple meanings, and one of the things is you better offer a lot of free stuff.
We try.
No, thank you. I'm kidding. Thank you, Nathan, for taking the time. It's been really great talking with you. And like I said, I encourage a lot of folks to go check it out because now is the time if you're in your business and you're looking to grow and you just haven't had the kind of success in finding the right people that you want to get in your business. Take a look at the remote worker. There's lots of good ways to bring people on. So I would encourage people to go to your site. And thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us today on the Franchise Euphoria podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go to iTunes and provide a review. Also, please remember that although Josh Brown is a licensed and practicing attorney, nothing contained in this podcast should be construed as legal advice, because it is not. The information contained in this podcast is general and educational in nature, and none of it should be relied upon as legal advice. That being said, if you have questions for Josh and would like to contact him, please email him at josh@franchiseeuphoria.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you tune in to our next weekly episode.